Hi everybody, my name's Evie. I am a PhD student at the University of Leeds and I work closely on the Electronic Developmental Support Passport project, and that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. So you should watch this video before moving on to the practical how-to guide of how to actually use the tool. This session just gives you an overview of what the EDSP is, what it aims to do, what it doesn't aim to do. So let's get started. So what is the EDSP? So it's the Electronic Developmental Support Passport. So that is a digital tool that staff can access online. It's created to help teachers and school staff record a child's development in line with fundamental learning skills. So the aim is to make this process structured and helpful for day-to-day teaching. So how was the EDSP created? So the EDSP was created in line with the early years foundation stage statutory framework. The assessment questions within the EDSP were derived using a synthesis of critical evaluation of different scientific literature around child development and special educational needs. And the EDSP also took inspiration from existing models such as the early years foundation stage profile and the Portsmouth model, among other models. So the EDSP's content and structure were reviewed by experts in the field of child development and SEND, and it incorporates a broad range of assessment domains and questions to aim to capture a more holistic view of a child's development than just looking, for example, at their literacy, maths, reading skills. So the aims of the EDSP are to ensure that all children can thrive within the school environment. The EDSP has several objectives that are listed when you log on to the tool, but I just wanted to highlight them here as well. So the EDSP aims to highlight children who may benefit from additional support. So that might be something like a reasonable adjustment, or it might be something of more of a structured intervention. The EDSP enables specific needs to be pinpointed at the task competency level. So it empowers teachers to be able to really identify the really nuanced skills that each child is struggling with. The EDSP also facilitates communication and collaboration between schools and families to help identify needs that might be masked within the classroom. So by discussing a child's development with families, it may be that there are needs that the family are identifying that the school aren't noticing, or vice versa. So the EDSP supports teachers to deliver high quality teaching by providing a framework to tailor teaching to children's needs. So that comes into the reasonable adjustments and any interventions that may be needed. The EDSP provides schools and families with tailored evidence-based recommendations for how that child's needs can best be supported within the classroom. So that's on a needs-led framework where the support is recommended irrespective of any diagnostic labels. So those recommendations are based on what the literature and what clinicians and young people suggest are helpful in supporting the needs that have been identified. The EDSP also enables you to monitor a child's development over a period of time. For example, what needs they have in reception versus year 1 versus year 2. So what does the EDSP do? What does it not do? So we've covered what it does aim to do, but this is what it doesn't aim to do. And it doesn't aim to classify a child as neurodivergent. So it doesn't aim to diagnose children as being autistic or have ADHD. And it doesn't identify or suggest that children should or should not be on the SEND register. It doesn't recommend that a child should be referred for a diagnosis. Again, that decision lies with clinicians and families. So it does not replace a diagnosis. It aims to allow teachers to pinpoint needs and recommend evidence-based support to be able to meet those needs within the classroom. So let's have a discussion about the tool structure itself. So the tool follows a structured sequence of questions at different levels. So it begins with 4 key skill areas. So the areas that you might be familiar with are sensory and physical, cognition and learning, social, emotional and mental health, and communication and interaction. So it uses a branching logic where additional, more specific questions appear for you to respond to only if a child is indicated to not yet be meeting an expected skill in a given area. So that ensures that the EDSP sessions are time efficient and tailored to the child's needs. So those specific questions are only going to be needed if that child is struggling in that specific area. So if a key skill area is marked as not yet meeting that expected level of development, the tool then sort of branches further to more specific detail around fundamental learning skills. So these break down each domain into more specific components. So here, this example, you've got communication. If a child isn't meeting the expected level in regards to communication, the tool will then allow you to think a bit more about what specific areas of communication the child is struggling with. So whether that be expressive language, receptive language, speech or non-verbal communication. And examples are given throughout the tool to make sure that interpretation of these more specific learning skills is consistent. At this point, if any fundamental learning skill is not yet meeting, the tool will prompt the user to generate a letter home to parents and carers. So it invites them to come into the school and discuss their child's development with school staff. And the purpose of that is to provide insight in how the child's needs present across different environments. So the teacher or Senko should complete the initial session independently as educational staff. And then a new session should be started if the parent or carer is present to ensure that any needs that haven't been identified in the previous stage might have the opportunity to be discussed or added when the parents or carers are present. The final tool progression is to the task competency level. So it breaks that skills down into even more finer level. And here you have the response options of whether the child is not yet meeting that task competency, whether they're expected, but it also allows you to indicate whether they're exceeding that expected level. After this point, the tool will provide a session summary. So it'll give you an overview of the child's needs that are not yet at the expected level of development, and it will give tailored recommendations for support specific to those needs that you've identified in the session. So the recommendations are needs-led, so they're targeting the needs that you've just completed in the assessment and family discussions. They're neurodiversity affirming, so they're inclusive of diverse cognitive profiles. They utilise strengths-based language and practical coping strategies. And they are designed to be feasible, so they don't require additional training or any financial investment, and they incorporate best practice. They're also designed to be flexible, so the design styles and engagement options are varied to ensure that they're accessible for a range of schools, class formats, and learners. Just a final note about feasibility and implementation. So we understand that you are all already under extreme time pressure, and the tool is therefore designed with this in mind, and it takes around 60 seconds to complete the tool for the majority of children. So if a child is at the expected level of development, then it should take around 60 seconds to go through the tool. The administrative efforts of setting up the tool have also been relieved through the training documents, templates, and they are designed so that your school admin can support with the setting up of the tool, if that is possible. And crucially, your insights and experiences of using the EDSP will be invaluable for ensuring that we have the information to be able to improve the tool further, to ensure that it is as feasible as it can be and is meets the needs of you and your classrooms. And that is everything for this session. So thank you very much for your time. So the EDSP is designed to make identifying and supporting children's needs clearer, quicker and more effective. And I'll now encourage you to direct to Nell's video looking at how you actually use the tool step by step. Thank you.